Welcome everyone, I'm Plays Games and this is episode 26 of our EVE Online Let's Play series. In the previous episode we kitted out the new Omen fit for the Abyss and we tried it out and it seemed to work much better than the previous one did. Made another few million, didn't die, he didn't even come close to dying, so that was great. We attempted to do some industry stuff, but the trade hub was camped by pirate yankers, so we abandoned that plan. So today's plan is to restore that plan and do that. So I've been shopping already, gathered all the materials to build the Nirvana Epsilon implant, which was the one which our spreadsheet said had the largest profit. Got a surprise after I bought all the items. It turns out they take up 10,049 cubic meters. So I've had to do 3 trips in the Sigil to bring it all here to this player run station. I could have bought a bestower and fitted it out with cargo expanders and brought it all in one go. But A, that's 145 million, and I didn't want to carry that all at once, and B, especially not on a bestower because they have a tank made of wet paper. So I just took the hit and made multiple trips to bring it here. So why did I bring it here instead of anywhere else? Now if we look in the industry tab and then go to facilities, this is the one we're sitting in now. The tax rate is only 0.1 and the NPC stations tax is by default 10. So I didn't want to build it in Pasha because it would have cost us 10% tax. I mean, there are ones that are 0, but they were too far away. I mean, I know it's only 2 jumps from where we are now, but from where we were it was an extra 2 jumps. So I don't mind doing this. Another good thing about this, if we right click show info on the blueprint, the required materials, 642 synthetic synapses here, 1 nanofactory here, 757 transcranial microcontrollers right here, and 259 Ucomi superconductors and 103 morphite. So we've got exactly everything we need to build this. So when we right click use blueprint, see that it's slightly different. This is only needing 636 synthetic synapses, 257 Ucomi superconductors, and 750 controllers, and only 102 morphite instead of 103. It's because player run stations have rigs and service modules which can reduce the materials you need to put in. So we were lucky because this is an engineering facility, and Raitaru's and the other ones, Abzels and Sotios, they all decrease the amount of stuff you need. So what I could have done and should have done was do some research and found one of these places before I went shopping. But I didn't, so here we are. See, even at 0.1% tax, it's going to cost us 1.9 million to make this. See, the structure roll bonus is reducing that by 3%. The facility tax is 0.1. It just gives you just mouse over and then read down and it tells you everything. The system cost index is this little red bar under all the different activities that the station supports. Now, this changes depending on the total number of jobs being done in that system. So busy systems like this one, Ashab, because this is 1 jump from Amar, is really busy, which means the system cost index is 7.08. I also chose this one because the system cost index is really quite small. This one was a good balance of system cost index, tax rate, distance, and material efficiency. So I'm just going to start this job. There we go. And 1 hour, 11 minutes and 20 seconds later, we will have our mid-grade Nirvana Epsilon, which weighs and takes up 1 cubic meter. So 10,000 reduced to the size of 1. And this is the savings we made. It's only 1.3 million, but that's fine. It means that the money we could have saved not buying this paid for the installation of the job. This is why industry's good. Okay, so we've built the mid-grade Nirvana. So I bought the other blueprints here. I'm not going to leave them here. Because this is a player-run station, at any time the owner can change the access list and stop us from being able to come in. I might have to send all this stuff to asset safety and then go through the rigmarole of waiting 5 days for it to be delivered to an NPC station and then paying 15% of the estimated price to get it all back. It's just a major hassle. So I'm not going to store anything here. What I wanted to do was to bring them here to see the material savings in this station and then compare them to what we have here. Since I saw you last, I have completed Advanced Weapon Upgrades 3 and Armor Rigging 3. I did Armor Rigging 3 because I realised that the Omen Fit we had has an armor rig. If you remember, this was boosting the armor repair by 15%, but it was increasing the power need to fit both repairers by 10. So I've trained armor rigging up, so that's reduced that drawback to 7. Advanced Weapon Upgrades 2 has saved us some power, and so has Armor Rigging 3. So we have 15 power grid to play with. So let's see if what I was hoping comes to pass. Can we fit a restrained microwatt drive? Let's get a 50. Let's turn all the correct filters back on. There we are, that makes it easier. 50 restrained. Oh, look at that, that's excellent. Okay, 0.7 power remaining. Well, that's absolutely spot on. That's exactly what we wanted. Remember with the compact, it was depleting in 1 minute 11. Now it's 1 minute 30. So that's much better. Remember, in the electrical abyssal sites, our capacitor recharge rate is doubled. So this will give us much longer capacitor. So that has gone well. So I'll have to buy one of them on the way back. I've also run a few more cam electrical filaments. Nothing too deadly happened. I did meet some Angel Cartel NPC that were in there. There's 3 of them. All 3 of them were frigates, and all 3 of them were sensor damping. And let me get this right. They were sensor damping, neuting, webbing, and scramming. So it was absolutely horrific, but luckily because they were frigates, they were orbiting nice and close, so the sensor damping didn't affect us too badly. But obviously being warp scrammed turned off the microwatt drives, so I was just relying on the drones mainly and trying to use keep it ranged to keep the guns lined up. That was pretty bad. There was one that had a Triglavian battle cruiser who was half damaged, luckily, and he hit us a couple of times, but thanks to the microwatt drive we were able to keep our speed up, so he did keep missing and resetting his damage back to 0. A few hairy moments. But I did manage to loot all 3 rooms and all 3 of the sites I ran, so that was excellent. Finding these kind of stations can be a little bit rough. If you go up here to the Neocom main menu, scroll down to utilities and open the structure browser, filter out NPC stations by unselecting station, so this only shows you the player ones, and then you can filter the service for what you want. Now unfortunately this doesn't tell you whether or not you have docking access at this, or if their service modules are fully fueled and active, or what kind of bonuses they give you. So it's not that helpful. And in fact, it tells you the tax rate and jump clone if you mouse over it, but it doesn't tell you much. So I usually, when I'm looking for industry things, I open the industry window and go to facilities, and then use the filters here because it's much more accurate and it's easier to read. You don't have to mouse over stuff to get pop-ups. You just tell at a glance everything you need to know. But again, this doesn't show you what it's fitted with and what its reductions and bonuses are, which is really quite annoying. One way you can do that is to buy and fit a ship scanner and go there in a fast ship and scan it. That's the only way to see what rigs and modules it has fitted, which is silly and stupid, but that's how the game developers have decided that they want it to work. The more attentive corporations who own the stations will actually include that info on the biography or even on the name of the station itself. But not many of them do that because a lot of them are very lazy. In structure browser, maximum range for that is region, so we know that this is only showing stuff in task mark on, whereas the industry you can set it within a number of jumps, which is better because this could cover multiple different regions if the regions are all close together. That's why we see the one where our implant is being made right here. Again, none of them have in the description or the name of their station put their bonuses on it. The biography? No, they haven't put it here, which is really annoying. But this is the standard role bonus for this engineering complex. 1% reduction in material requirements for manufacturing, which is exactly what we did. So if it had any rigs, that would be even faster. And let's buy a ship scanner and go and see what that has fitted. Okay, we're in the system where the right arrow is, so let's go and see what's fitted in it. Target lock it. Ship scan it. Bing. And now we see the fit. It has no rigs, it has a manufacturing plant, reprocessing and research. It's just bare bones. Where's the nearest place? Where it jumps. This Imperial Academy isn't showing because we don't have docking rights. If you remember, only ones you have docking rights with show on the overview. Even though this says public facilities, it's not actually public. Now if they're advertising this one for sale, it probably doesn't have anything on it, but we'll go and have a look. The thing about these stations is that even if you find a good one, it doesn't mean it'll be good tomorrow, because they could manually offline the service module, or a service module could run out of fuel and stop working, or they could block access, or the station can come under fire and be shut down because of the reinforcement. There's no guarantees at all with this. You just have to keep checking this and maybe ship scanning them every once in a while. The stations are fitted using the fitting tool in the same way that ships are, so it's very easy for the station owner just to remove a rig or a service module or do anything else they want. The NPC stations don't change, but they don't have any bonuses and a flat 10% tax rate. I've only been using Pasha to build things because I couldn't be bothered to haul stuff around, and we were only building a couple of frigates and some ammunition, so the savings really didn't matter. But now we're building implants that cost hundreds of millions to build. It's worth saving every little bit you can. The next issue is I have to decide how I'm going to transport this 1 cubic meter thing that's selling for 260 million ISK. How we're going to get that up to Jita safely. Am I going to do it in the Sigil, or will I try and refit the executioner to get a less than 2 second align time and just blaze up as fast as I can? Let's have a look at this one. And just a manufacturing plant and research lab. Absolutely nothing going on in this one. Let's have a look at this one. Could, if you wanted, go to every single station on the list and scan them all individually. Life's too short, really. Again, they haven't written anything in the bio or in the name. Let's have a look. No, just the service modules themselves, no rigs. The Athenor is the moon mining station. Fits a big laser here, shoots a moon, and tractor beams the chunk into space, which is then detonated into a small asteroid belt, which is then mined in the regular manner. This will have extra refining, right? Have they written anything in the bio? No. Have they written anything in the name? No. So all you're going off in game is this. You have no idea if they have any rigs fitted to enhance any of this even further. And it's just a right arrow, which is the smallest engineering station. Ah, here we go. High power slot, medium power slot. They've actually put some defense minded stuff on this. Yeah, so these guys look like they're here for a long time. It can defend itself from war attackers with missile launchers, and it's got kind of the E-war stuff. None of that is listed here. And we'll check this last station and we'll head on home. Let's see how fast we can build an executioner. In terms of a line time, 2.01, not quite good enough. So why am I determined to get it less than 2? Because the Eve server works on 1 second ticks. So each action takes 1 second to be performed by the server. So to align and warp, it takes 1 second to align and another second to get into warp. And it also takes someone trying to attack you 1 second to target you and 1 second to open fire. So if you've got an align time, it says 1.95, but effectively this means 2 ticks. So you are in warp by the time the second tick ends before they can open fire. So getting your align time below 2 is good. Due to latency concerns and internet wobbles, it can be worth going slightly below that 1.5. 1.95 is a bit iffy. It's worth spending an extra $250,000 just to go to 1.92. This is now quite a good courier ship because it'll align in 1.2 seconds. But it could be faster than warp, and we know how to do that. We've done it before.
Docking request accepted.
$250,000. Faster's faster. Going from 5 AU a second to 6. It's nice. Sometimes people will use smart bombs, which are an area of effect weapon, to try and kill little ships like this. That's usually in low sec because they can't do it in high sec. Well, they can, but the police will kill them if they hit anything neutral. So what we can do is just fit a medium shield extender and, as usual, bump up the EM and thermal. And 3,000 effective hit points isn't that good. It's not that good at all. So we could try and take the implant up to Jita in this, which would be much faster than the Sigil. I think I probably will just invest and buy this executioner. Let's see what's in this station. Rigs. Oh, would you look at that? Okay, they've actually rigged it. Stop the ship before we get out the range. Okay, more weapons. Heavy energy neutralizers. So again, these guys are here for the long term because they bothered to stick defenses on it. Server slots. An expensive faction research lab, invention, manufacturing plant. They have rigged it to make it save more materials, but they've rigged it to only save materials for making capital ship components and large ships. So this won't get anything over and above the usual 1% reduction in material requirements. It's like they've actually written something in the bio. Well, have a look at that. Yeah, tier 1 invention time rigs are installed. I mean, it can say that and they might not have it. That could be false advertising, but we scanned it so we know it does. Yeah, so this would have pretty fast invention. It's sad and annoying that the only way you can get this is to come out here in person and physically scan it, but that's how it is. Quickly looking through all the loot I got in the various electrical filaments we run, we're generating quite a lot. The Triglavian survey database exists only to be sold to NPC buy orders. This is our guaranteed loot. So far we're up to 18.8 million ISK for them, which is brilliant. 0 point condensate and the crystalline oxygen 10 are used to build things. We haven't found any blueprints to build anything yet. They're worth 5.2 and 2.5. Proving ground filaments are barely worth anything because no one knows what this event is. It's still not been announced. Got a couple of metaplasmids again, they're not worth very much because the results are random. I have found a lot of different filaments. I'll be keeping any firestorm and electrical ones I've found, and I'll probably sell all the rest. I'll be keeping the agitated electrical, that's the tier 2 ones. I'll sell the agitated dark. And we found our first tranquil. Tranquil is tier 0. You haven't even got a tier listed. Originally, difficulty went from 1 to 5, and then they introduced tier 6 at the top end and tier 0, the Tranquils at the bottom end. That's why we've been running cams, which was the easiest and is now the second easiest. Difficulty tier 1, difficulty tier 0. Now these are actually quite expensive because they are such rare drops. And you can run these, in fact you can probably run the ones we'll be running in a really well fitted Punisher with dual reps and a micro warp drive, just because it's so fast that it manages to avoid so much fire. Our first one of these, we haven't found any tier 3s yet, but we might find them in the single agitated we've got. I mean, it takes quite a while, and you have to run some quite high level filaments for it to become self-sustaining instead of buying filaments from other people and running them. Hopefully we'll get there. How many cams have we got left? We've got 4. I think we found 2. So I think I've run 8 sites. 18 million divided by 8 sites. It's not the best income, but this is only tier 1s. Once we get to tier 2s, obviously the higher up you go, the more you can make. I mean, people running tier 5s are earning about 175 million ISK an hour, something like that, and tier 6 is even more. But as I said, the ship fits and skills you need for that are extreme and way out of our reach, at least for now. Okay, we're back again. Find me on the way up to Cheetah, well, perimeter.
Active.
The implant has been made, it's in my cargo. And I actually did end up taking the executioner. I changed the fit a little bit. I removed the thermal passive hardener and replaced it with a second medium shield extender just to give us 4,500, which is alright but not great. And I changed out the second low friction nozzle joint for a second hyper velocity. I reckon
Drive active.
reducing the align time to 1.92 wasn't as good as increasing the warp from 6 to 7.04. This should cut down our travel time to Jita significantly. I did put it in a can because I had an idea that I was going to put it in a can and then send the can to an alternative character. And then that alternative character would then make a courier contract and then take the courier box up to Jita. Now why would I do that? Because if you put a can inside a courier contract, it then puts that can inside a courier box. And if anyone scanned your ship, they'll see inside your ship's cargo, they'll see inside the courier box, but all they will see is that there's a can inside the box. They won't actually see what's inside the can.
Active.
If someone was to scan me now, they'd see into my ship's cargo, they'd see into the can, and they would see the implant. So double wrapping things, putting it in a can and then putting the can into a courier box and then sending it to a different character to move for you and make it impossible for someone to scan and see inside. But that was just far too much effort and I just could not be bothered.
Warp drive active.
If you do have multiple characters, that's something you can do. Well, it says it's worth 337, but we're only going to get about 260-ish. We're in perimeter, we're alive, we never even got targeted on the way up.
Docking request accepted.
Saw a few red flashy people, but they'd been attacking other people. What do I get here? When we sell this, we'll make 269.7 million ISK minus whatever the sales tax is. Now, I could put up an order for something like 305.9 or something and hope that someone buys it before someone else again undercuts us. But I don't want to get into the constant undercutting and have to come all the way back up here to modify the order. No thanks. I'd rather just sell it. Let's see. Hey, broker's fee, 0, because this player station has 0 broker's fee. All we're paying is a 5% sales tax, which is 13.4 million. It doesn't matter, because we're getting 256. Sell. Yes, confirm. Outstanding. Hey, look at that. Fantastic. $500 million-esque. That's a lovely figure to see, isn't it? That's one of our 5 implants made, and this was the one that had the most profit. In the last 30 days, we've actually made 1.86 billion in total. And we spent 1.3, which is why we're left on 512. We're still only 23 days old, so that's not bad. 1.86 billion-esque in 23 days. Not shabby. If I hadn't spent all that on daily, I mean, most of the expense has gone on the daily alpha injectors. About 45-50 million a day for the last 15 or 16 days. If I hadn't have done that, this is more than enough-esque to pay for Omega status. So we could have had Omega after a couple of weeks. But I'm quite happy staying alpha at the minute. Hey, let's go all the way back home. 48 jumps in safety because we're empty. And let's do some more spreadsheeting and work out what implant to build next. On to implant number 2. I've come back to Amar, I've done all the shopping, I've made 2 runs out to that production station. We'll just set destination there again. And what I've done is that I've used again the condensed members list, even though it doesn't cut down the list very much in a trade hub. There are still 374 names to scroll through. But I have set the most notorious suicide killing and player killing alliance to red, so if they were here they would show up red. And I did warp to the station at distance just to see if they were hanging outside, and they weren't. And they still aren't here. Last time we were here they were just sitting over here, 3 of them in battle cruisers. And the station was safe, so I took the chance. Still haven't made an instant undock here, I really must do that. I double checked the facility and the facilities tab. As I said, this can change at any moment. This is the one we made them in last time. Tax rate's still the same. System cost index is good. And before I went to Amar to buy all the stuff, I went to that station just to check that these reduced material needs are still reduced, and it was, which is great. I think some of the prices have changed a little bit, but it's just 20 or 30,000 here or there. It's a thing with industry, your prices change constantly, like literally minute to minute. So according to my figures, this one should make around between 68 and 80 million profit.
Accepted.
Nowhere near as much as the last one. This is not part of this recipe, that's the leftovers from the last time. And all the other leftovers have been integrated into this recipe. Yeah, hopefully we should have everything we need. Yes, 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 good. 1 run. Again, 1.2 million. Alright, in another hour, we'll have a mid-grade Nirvana Delta. Total estimated price, 243 million. They have to deduct all our expenses from that. We were up at 512, because that's what it was, and then it took the 5% tax off. So we were at 512, we're now down at 381. 512 minus 381. And so we spent 131 million, and the estimated price reckons it's 243. So the game reckons we'll get 112 million profit, but I'll just double check that on the Eve Tycoon website link that I've shown you lots of times before. Okay, there's one being bought at 212 million. 512 minus 381. We spent 131, and we're going to sell it for 212. So yeah, 81. That's still pretty good going. All we had to do was to spend a little bit of free XP, like a 7 hour overnight to get Industry 3, and then spend one daily alpha injector to get Industry 4, and then just finally do whatever we could to get enough money to be able to buy all the things. Industry is like that. It's like normal capitalism. You need capital to be able to participate. It would be good to get all these built and shifted. I believe the beta will be the next one we do. According to my prices at the minute, the Nirvana alphas are actually losing money, so I'll hold on to these until the market changes. Let's have a look. Mid-grade Nirvana alpha. Is it being bought for 90.8? Yeah, these are still losing money, so we will not be making these. We only live 4 jumps away from a Mar, so every day I'll just go to Mar and reprice them and see if that changes. We had enough money to be able to buy all this stuff at once, but I didn't want to tempt myself, because then I would have just built both the implants at once and probably would have risked taking them up to perimeter in one go. That would have been insane. Bad enough with the palm sweats and the beating heart, taking one implant worth 300 million up there. No way was I going to tempt myself with 3 or 4 of them. Oh, the money is doing really well. I think maybe after I sell this one, I'll use the profits from that to actually buy a Harbinger battlecruiser. Because I do keep finding Sancha Watch and Sancha Vigil combat sites. And I shy away from them because I know for a fact that the Moor won't be able to do it, and the Omen might even struggle quite a bit. So I think we'll get a Harbinger. It's good for level 3 missions as well, if we ever get bored. We know that the Omen can run them, but this will just run them that much faster. I'm not sure whether I'll ever bother going to battleships on this character. At least not until we earn enough money and get good enough to maintain Omega status. Then I might invest in a battleship and run level 4 missions in it. So that was a quick introduction and an update. Finally getting rid of these implant blueprints. We've looked into how to find the right station to do it, and how to go there and use your ship scanner to figure out if it has any rigs and if it's better than the other ones on the list. Turns out none of the ones anywhere near this were, so this is the best station. We've discussed how this can all change, the tank rate can go up. In 2 minutes time, the owner of the station can update it, and how to avoid NPC stations because they have a flat 10% tax rate, and how to avoid gankers outside stations. Remember, we tried to do this a couple of episodes ago and had to shy away because there were active people outside the station trying to kill people, and why it was better to make multiple trips in a ship that we know has a good chance of surviving rather than risking it in a bigger ship with a weaker tank that would probably get destroyed carrying that much, and how to make money. It takes money. 2 blueprints down, all these ones still to go. If you enjoyed this quick shopping trip in industry video, please leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike, but subscribe, and hopefully in the very near future we'll get at least one Omen into a tier 2 abyssal dead space site. Till then, take good care of yourselves and I'll see you soon.